Hello, everybody, and welcome back to 20 Minutes by Noco. I am joined here by Yar, one of our usual suspects. How's it going, Yar?
Great. Starting the year strong,
Yes, sir.
2026.
Yes, sir. And with a new year come new trends and developments in the landscape. So one of the things I noticed that, for example, just the other week we got a lead in our inbox, and most of the time we know where that lead comes from because we follow the G-Clit. We know the campaign that led them through our website or to our conversion points. But in this case, I didn't. I couldn't see it in our CRM. So I asked them, as I always do then, like, hey guys, where did you actually find us? And then the prospect said ChatGPT. I'm like, that's cool because we see more and more of that. So what were you looking for? What was the kind of the process that led you to us? It was quite interesting because it's a company that has multiple businesses, multiple brands under a parent brand, and they are looking to consolidate, basically all their marketing efforts in terms of brand strategy, but also in terms of, how they manage their website, which is currently, how it goes, very fragmented. WordPress here, another one there, different logins, different management systems, a bit of chaos. So it turned out that they were basically asking questions about brand strategy, and also how to, give a new home to those multiple websites in Webflow and how that works under one, management account and stuff like that. Turned out that they landed on a page where we elaborate on that. So I figured we must be doing something right there. So let's unpack this. People use LLMs more and more for search queries. I do it myself. We all have our own process. But what are the early learnings here when it comes to being findable as a company in those LLMs? Like, where are we with this?
So right now there's this term that is getting trendy is AEO, which is Answer Engine Optimization. And it's not very different from SEO itself. I mean, it's almost the same thing. It's just AEO has a little bit more steps to it, and you just need to take extra steps on it. So what happens is that if, let's say, you have the content and the answers that the prospects are looking for, so if my prospects are asking for the best agencies in the Netherlands, and I have the answers to that question, and not just the first answers, to keep in mind that the prospect is always going to have a follow-up question. So I have a detailed answer, and I have the detailed answer for the follow-up question, and so on. And of course, the AI will read from my content, will either read my articles or go through even my videos on YouTube. They go to the transcript. So the more answers you have to this question, the more probably that you're going to show in the search result or in the conversation with ChatGPT. Now, what happens is, let's say you have your website ranking #1 on the Google search. This is back in SEO. That doesn't necessarily mean that your brand will be mentioned in the answer when talking to ChatGPT, because what happens back in the SEO, it was more of a technical game. So it's more about numbers, it's more about the right data, the right words, and you plug it in and you win in the SEO game.
Backlinks.
However, right now with backlinks, exactly. So that was the strategy to go about. However, when AI is now introduced and the search is no longer just terms, and we're having conversations and we're asking more questions and we're trying to understand based on our situations. So it's more about creating a unique content that gives the answers to those users, because it's not just about rewriting what's already there. It's about giving something unique, and the AI is looking for that because the AI understands that, okay, this is a new perspective on this topic, so that's what I want to share. That's what I understand, something new. And so I think we're doing really good. I mean, we're doing these podcasts. We have content going on in our blog posts. Also, we're active on, let's say, social media, on LinkedIn. The members of Noco are very active. And this gives more authority like we saw on the Webflow maturity model. So the authority is the ultimate goal, and you need to give authority on your brand, on what you're saying, on the topics that you share, and that's how the AI will always find us or give us as a result in the search.
Yeah. Before we dive into the Webflow playbook, because you mentioned that just now, I think it's excellent, as you also mentioned in the video that you did on this topic. But can you try and explain to me, so how does an AI, how does an LLM, how does it behave when searching? Like what are its characteristics? What is it looking for compared to a human, or is it very similar to how a human queries? What can we already say about this?
So since it's something new and AI is very complex, we still, all of us don't know every little detail of how this actually works. However, we have a lot of data from what we have so far that tells us how this is working. Back then when Google, like with Google, no, back then it's still there. So when we want to do some research with Google, it's very easy because through the Google Ads API, we get the data about, say, specific keywords, specific search queries. So we get this data through the API. However, with ChatGPT, it doesn't give this data. So we don't know the volume of, let's say, these questions. We don't know the questions. It's still not there yet. I was watching another podcast and they said that it might be there when they introduce ads, and then we'll have more data and they will give us more data. But right now it's not
Yeah, there's
there.
rumors that ChatGPT will launch some sort of an ad feature, but I'm not sure about that.
Yeah.
Okay.
I hope not, but yeah.
I mean,
Let's
I
see.
hope not. I don't hope so either. But well, you never know. It's not the most attractive model from a user perspective. Anyway, also, for the people watching this, I would highly recommend to also watch Yar's, I guess, in-depth talking head video about this topic if you want to have a very quick and high overview of this topic. It's really excellent. It's a super concise breakdown of I guess all you need to know, and also all you need to know to dive deeper into this topic. And yeah, diving deeper into this topic is exactly what we're going to do today as well. And trying to close your video here, but the Webflow AEO playbook, you mentioned it already. What can we learn from that? What does it give us?
So Webflow has been very active and very up to date with the information when it comes to search or AEO or SEO, advanced SEO, let's call it. And they have been introducing features. They have been introducing content like this playbook, which is excellent, by the way. It goes over how search is changing from simple keywords, backlinks type of thing to more detailed and more personalized experience that serves a specific function for our prospect or for our users. The playbook goes through different parts, more like the content, the numbers, the data that you get, the traffic. It goes through all of it, and it explains it like this maturity model. It explains how you have content and you go through the levels. So from level 1 to level 5. So first it's keywords, and that's what we usually do, and then it's answers, and you get more detailed content, and then it's structured content. This is where you have more answers, and then like we talked about the follow-up questions. This is where structure comes in. And then pillar, where you have a lot of these answers to the specific topic, and you're kind of moving towards the level 5, which is authority. And that's where the AI considers you the credible source for the specific topic or the specific query. And this is how you move through it. Now, technical as well, we also do that in Noco, on the development side. We go through these steps, and we stay also up to date with how AEO is reading our website, AEO is scanning through our pages, because also all this comes into play when it comes to AEO. Another good strategy with content that I'm hearing a lot is repurposing content. So also in the playbook, it talks about how the AI looks for the most up-to-date information, and it tries to find the most recent information. So a lot of companies or a lot of brands, like let's say our clients, we do recommend repurposing of older content into a newer version so that it becomes up-to-date, and that more probably the ChatGPT will use it and recommend it.
That's very interesting, because I'm reading a lot about refreshing content, or that refreshed content is an important factor. So if I understand you correctly, it is not just about reposting it, but it's about iterating it and sort of bringing it up to date with current, trends and developments, and then reposting it, republishing it basically. Or is it simply, for example, you have blog posts on your website, they have relevancy when you post them, that relevancy wanes over time in a lot of cases. Is it just taking that same blog article, updating that same article, that same entry basically, and publishing it again? Or are there specific rules, just trying to make this a little bit practical for the viewer?
I mean, of course, like you said, it's taking that article, making it up to date with the most up to date information, up to date recent events, and of course, mentioning the date in the article somewhere. So this was last updated, let's say, on the 1st of January. Right. Mentioning that date is good because the LLM can also go through this, and also, mentioning that on the main page is very good. Also mentioning that, let's say, the schema markup, so that the AI knows exactly when this was updated last.
Yep.
Another thing, all this as well being mentioned in the playbook. Another thing is having an author or like a source of where this information comes from.
Yep.
And an author, like a more author than let's say a company. And this gives it even more credibility because the AI can go through this author's profile and find out how credible what they say is. So this also helps with AEO.
Yeah, and should you also link to an author's page, whether that's on the website or his or her social presence, or what is the best play here?
Yeah, exactly. So linking to, let's say, your profile page, your LinkedIn page, gives more. LinkedIn page is very good because the AI can understand that this is real.
Yeah.
And for, let's say, I wrote an article about development in workflow, and I'm the author, then the AI will go through my LinkedIn profile and make sure that, okay, if I'm a senior developer at Workflow, then my article about development can be credible because I know what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
And that's how it reads it.
Interesting, very interesting. Just to go back to the freshness aspect of it. So there's a quote, I think, in this Webflow playbook as well that says freshness wins. 95% of citations come from content updated in the last 10 months. That's very interesting. To be honest, in the old days, if we can call it like that, when I was doing search queries, I would also look for recent articles. I still do that actually when I want to have advice on something. So if I see that it's from 2018 or something, then I'm less motivated or less willing to click on it because I think it's probably not up to date, even though it might be, but in my mind. So that's actually quite similar to how I think a human would search. You search for recent, fresh, updated stuff because the assumption is that it's better, right? That it's more accurate. So
Yeah, of course. Now with all the updates, and how quick updates are being made, and technology and events around the world. So we always look for the most up-to-date content. Like I have, with my colleagues, we call it before 2020 is BC, which is before COVID.
Oh my God.
So everything in BC actually is like old stuff. Like now like anything before 2020 is like kind of old, because after 2020 there was a lot of advancements and a lot of new perspectives came into place. So that information is more relevant to current times.
Shouldn't it be like BGPT or something before
BGPT
GPT?
as well, yeah. That was another world as well.
Yeah. All right. So, yeah, another
Yeah.
interesting quote that you probably, just to capture what you said in the beginning of the episode a little bit. So AEO is about being understood and not just about being found. I think that's the big difference, right?
Yeah, so like we said, the user is going to go and ask questions, going to have a conversation, and in that conversation, it's preferably that you have the answers to that question so that you are more credible as a brand, and then you're mentioned in that search result. These can be like, for example, if a brand wants to optimize for AEO, they can look for the questions that are being asked in, let's say, sales calls,
Yes.
that are being asked by customer service inquiries. So all these questions that are there already can be repurposed, so you can answer them in a very detailed way and put that information online. And then usually when the user comes and asks ChatGPT this question, your answers are there and they're more credible now.
Yeah, totally. I think that's great. And I think that's something that we could optimize as well, because as you know, and as a lot of people and companies do these days, we transcribe basically all our meetings. We have all that
Yeah.
raw, all these raw transcripts. We have them all, so we could mine them for the key questions. Of course, we also know, because you're there and you kind of know, but you could more structurally, you could mine them and then turn them into FAQ sections, for example, or write articles that in a structured way with a good content hierarchy answer those questions. So those are already very practical, immediately actionable items that you can do as a marketing team. And you don't really even have to be technical for it, right? That's the beauty of it. You just have to make sure that you answer the right questions, answer the right follow-up questions, and structure it properly, which is maybe a little bit more technical, talking schema markups, but also just, I think, simple H1, H2 hierarchies are already very effective if you do that properly.
Yeah, of course, the let's say the CSS or the styles hygiene of the page is very important, that the page is very clean and it can be easily read. The code is very well done, H1, H2, H3, the hierarchy and all that. Schema markups help majorly, so they've been very helpful because they just give the data instead of going through the page with styles and all that.
Yeah.
And Webflow now actually, again, they're introducing a lot of features. One of them is auto schema markups. So on the page, you can just click and it generates a schema markup for you automatically.
Yep.
And a certain specific field that they made for it. So this can even be easier for marketers to go into this this detail. So I think these are great ways for marketers to like have more presence in AEO, which is refreshing old content, going through transcribes of meetings. I mean, this is gold. I mean, there's a lot of information there that you can use and repurpose for a content strategy.
Yeah, totally. And as they always say, SEO is dead, right? I've been hearing that for 20 years, but this is just, I guess, a new iteration of it, and they call it AEO.
Yeah.
So maybe it's just cool to go over some sort of checklist, or at least a list of some items of more practical stuff, right? Just to keep this, comprehensible for non-technical people such as myself. So I wrote some notes down, that I got from basically the website, the Webflow playbook, your video, and just talking about it. So I have 4 pillars here, and I'm not sure if that's correct actually, but I came with 4 pillars, which is content, with a focus on clarity and structure for AI comprehension. So key actions: answer questions directly, use headings, lists, and FAQs, cluster topics, refresh regularly, the freshness aspect of it, and make content scannable and quotable by AI. That's basically the overarching goal of this. Feel free to correct me when wrong or make additions. So then pillar 2 is technical. So focus is a machine readable site. Key actions, schema markups, FAQ page, how-to organization, a fast and mobile secure site, XML sitemaps and canonicals,
Yeah.
LLMS.txt file. We talked about this before. So it's index of key pages for LLMs. And then specific Webflow wins are auto-generated clean code, high-speed built-in schema support. Is that correct? Those Webflow wins?
Yeah, so of course, Webflow as well optimizes their hosting services for better performance, faster load times. I mean, having clean website, of course, helps. The AI reads it better, helps AI, gives it more authority. So yeah, I think from the technical point of view, this is Webflow really helps the sites rank better.
Yeah, they seem to be on top of all this new stuff, so that's good.
Yeah.
Then authority. We talked about this as well. So the focus is credibility signals that AI trusts. You gave the example about the authors in the blog article backlinking to, for example, a credible page, social page like a LinkedIn page. Some other notes here for key actions that you can take for authority. Expert and byline content, earn third-party mentions and citations, consistent brand storytelling, monitor and fix AI misrepresentations. Let's focus on that, Yara, because what can you do when an AI scrapes, searches and scrapes your website, and things are misrepresented? Like, can you fix that, and how do you fix that? Do you just fix it by refreshing content and, overriding it?
I mean, yeah, for sure. I mean, some brands have a lot of content out there. It can get messy, and if your information is not, let's say, consistent across different pages or across different sources, the AI definitely will cite you wrong. Will maybe say something wrong or something not true or something outdated about you. So it's always better to, when you're doing this strategy, is that you also try to, do the search yourself and do the search manually and try to find out what ChatGPT is saying and how they're talking about your brand. And of course, if it's something that is not true, then the mission is to update that information, remove the old information, or update it with new information, redirect links and all that. So you can make a whole strategy about, okay, we're refreshing our information, we're making sure the internet talks true about us, or the internet has all the right information, the false or outdated information are removed, and of course the ChatGPT will cite you better. Now with ChatGPT, it's actually much faster, the process, than Google. So in Google, it used to take time. It was harder. It used to take time. Smaller companies used to kind of fail or fall behind on this game because bigger companies with more authority, they can just, like, let's say, I have the budget, I can buy a mention on Forbes or something like that, and I automatically get ranked higher. However, with ChatGPT, it's not necessarily like that. And the more unique and valuable the information you put out there, of course, in a good technical page with everything's clean, the information that you put is unique, then you might be able to get mentioned today or tomorrow if you do it right. So there is a difference, and there's more personalized experience.
That's very interesting, and it seems also more rewarding and maybe even a bit more democratized this way. That's the benign scenario. That's the positive scenario. So we'll see how that plays out. Okay, cool. I also have one last pillar, which is measurement. So focus is to track AI visibility and not just the rankings. This really ties into what you just said. So monitor citations and mentions in AI answers, share of voice, sentiment, accuracy audits, cross-team workflows. Yeah, but it's also, it seems like a little bit of a needle in a haystack, right? Because you're not going to search for your name specifically in most cases, because that is not the point of your AEO efforts. You want to ask the questions that your ICP might ask in order to, end up with a mention of your company. So, in a Noco's case, we're not going to ask like, hey, what is the current reputation of Noco. No, you're going to probably want to ask the questions that lead to what we can solve for them, or what we can contribute. So yeah, I think that internally it's also a matter of just having sort of testing playbooks ready of the questions that you want them to find you with, to ask those questions yourself. And that's actually a great KPI, to be honest. You know, a great AEO KPI could be to just have a set of questions at the beginning of the year, like, okay, at the end of the year, we want to be found for these 5 at least main questions or key questions, and then you have follow-ups. And then you do, you know, I guess quarterly test sessions where you just start conversing with AIs based on those questions, and you start elaborating and making variations. You can do that with a couple of people, for example. And then you can, I guess, count the mentions. It's not an exact measurement system, but it's more of a contextual measurement system. But it's something, right? Or do you have another suggestion on how to measure the progress that you make as a company, as a brand on AEO?
I mean, this is a great strategy that you mentioned. I mean, it's a great way to do this. You have the questions, the problems that you solve, you answer them, you just emphasize on answering them, gives authority. Also, like, let's say you mentioned at the beginning of the episode that there was a client that found us through ChatGPT and came through us through answers.
Yeah.
And sometimes, say, even if we get mentioned in ChatGPT, most of the times maybe the user will just open a new tab and go to Noco agency directly, or go on Google and search it for you, and then on our side it's measured as either direct traffic or a Google traffic.
Yeah.
It's not ChatGPT anymore. So
Yeah.
we still don't know how much ChatGPT how it's working and how information is being processed there. So like you said, quarterly testing, going through AIs, also going through different AIs for different users. Yes. Because sometimes it can get biased.
Oh yeah.
So doing these research can be very, very useful, and this is the best way to get measurement, like the pillar, which is measurement.
Yeah, this is actually this specific topic of measuring your progress is actually something I would love to brainstorm a little bit more about, and to see which best practices are already there, because you can't really have sort of hard data about it. So yeah, that's an interesting one. Should we make it 30 minutes by Noco, by the way, instead of 20 for this time?
Yeah. We're almost there.
Yeah, we're almost there. Do you have anything to add to this sort of elaboration on AEO? So we saw in, let's say, 2024, I was reading the stats the other day. In 2024, beginning of 2024, ChatGPT or search engines, these AI search engines, started giving sources, started giving links, started giving a preview of, let's say, Google Maps. Yes. Or like, let's say, a product. You start seeing that. Yeah, these rich snippets, right? These rich product snippets and stuff like that. Web shops, direct buying links. Yeah.
Exactly. So this made the game a lot more interesting, and made the emphasis on AEO much stronger since 2024. Because before that, we weren't. Yeah, it was important, but we're still on Google. Google's the main thing. Now it's getting different, and the more structured data and the more we do this right, the more we appear in the search engine. Because at the end of the day, a lot of these, let's say, links or displays makes the user just goes through the process, buys the thing, doesn't even visit your website. So it's always important to keep that in mind, that the user is looking for solving their problem rather than just visiting a nice website or
something. Exactly. Yeah, that's something to consider. And you will probably at some point also get maybe website, or even on a page level you get previews. Maybe you get even interactive previews. I don't know. We're going to keep an eye on it. Then also, again, I think that humans are also creatures of habit. And that psychologically a website, being on an actual website, seeing the domain does still hold value, because, again, creatures of habit, and it's just, you just want to be there. You want to go there. You want to be on something that is entirely the companies that you're looking for. So I think that will still hold value, but I agree. You can't just assume that when people, migrate to ChatGPT for their search habits, that it will be just them clicking through and landing on your website. So yeah, man. But I guess the same was true when the social media boom happened, right? Like there were also predictions where they said like e-commerce will be entirely on Facebook or something. Yet here we are,
Yeah.
15 years later, still going to web shops, still filling up shopping baskets. So I guess with every hype
Yeah.
cycle, it will land somewhere in between. But yeah, I fully agree that, and research also shows this, right? Like the Forrester research that said that marketing teams, or not 95% of marketing teams, they expect to use generative AI in their buying process. I mean, I've been reading these marketing reports for a long time, and they also said this about social media again, so it's probably, those percentages are probably always a bit exaggerated, but I mean, we both agree that it will play a very, very important role, and it will shift towards AEO gradually and then very quickly. So yeah, I guess
Yeah.
message to our ICP, to our audience, which is B2B SaaS startups and scale ups predominantly, time to act is now, right? You have to be prepared now, because it will be more and more of an uphill battle once you let it slide. Um, there's several practical actionable items that you can execute on today. Um, so don't wait. Just start auditing your website, or give us a call if you need help auditing your website, so we can come up with an action plan and help you do it, because now is still the time. You're still very early, so make good use of it, is what I would say.
Yeah.
We'll link the video that Jar did on this topic in the description, and we'll also link the Webflow AEO playbook, which is a very valuable resource. Sorry. So we'll link both of those in the description, and I guess we'll see you next time. Jar, any last words?
No, thank you. I mean, let's try to keep an eye on how AEO develops, how the search in AI develops, and yeah, I'm excited to see how 2026 is gonna be.
It's always exciting stuff like this.
Yeah.
Yeah, we'll be back soon. Thank you all for watching.
Thank you.
All right, bye bye.
Bye bye.